Imagine watching one of those old Wild West films where just before went into the town and cleaned it up. That's exactly what the Ace Cafe was all about.
I think the most action was when if the mods got too close on their scooters. I heard they did put one in the canal, not the guy in the scooter.
Blue Hotel on a lonely highway.
It shines like a beacon looking down onto the North Circular Road at Stonebridge Park. It's proud to live in our rock and roll past when cars and bikes weren't thought of as polluters, but admired for their beauty. Every day and night, petrol heads congregate here to eat and drink, but also to show off their much-loved bikes, cars and even scooters. And for very good reason. This is the once infamous Ace Cafe.
Just love coming down here, the atmosphere, the music, meeting new people, seeing all the bikes.
I actually come here to get away from home, to be honest. You know, get away from the kids in the morning.
It don't matter whether you're a doctor or a road sweeper, you come to talk about bikes here.
It's somewhere we can all meet up, park our bikes, know they're safe, and have a bite to eat.
He's my baby.
She came here because she liked me.
The cafe first opened in 1938 and rose to notoriety in the 50s and 60s as a hangout for leather-clad ton-up boys. But its fortunes declined, and in 1969 it closed and became a tyre warehouse. But 12 years ago we made a film there because an ex-mounted policeman with a very large broom, who was also a biker, set out on a rather risky venture.
I've sat out there on the balustrade with a cigarette looking at it and reflecting on things that used to occur. I then organised a reunion in '94. That was a huge success with thousands attending, and this past few months we've managed to open the whole place once again 7 days a week. We actually have a hugely rich history which is broadly wrapped up in this place, and I want to see this as the wow cafe restaurant but British once again, and draw on all those roots and historic things that I feel are part of my lifeblood, which is the motorbikes, the rock and roll, the scooters, petrol heads and music basically.
Mark Willsmore's dream harked back to the early 60s, where leather meant bikes and mods were to be chased from the place. The Ace had a fearsome reputation, but still holds fond memories for those that were there at the time.
Them days, all the tables and chairs were bolted down to the floor. People often say to me, what was it like really down there? And I say, well, imagine watching one of those old Wild West films where just before went into the town and cleaned it up. That's exactly what the Ace Cafe was all about.
I think the most action was when if the mods got too close on their scooters, and I think there was a few interesting episodes there. I never saw any, but I heard they did put one in the canal, not the guy, the scooter.
I think like all things, reputations can be blown out of proportion sometimes. The majority of the time down here there was incidents, there was racing on the roads, people doing some silly things, but most time I would say that was an exception to the rule. You come down, met your mates, had a chat and left.
For once to my heart came a dream set apart.
Mark welcomed all to his reopened Ace Cafe, but with high streets at the time filling with multinational coffee chains, many thought he was hugely naive to think his cafe could be a long-term success, and back then all was not running smoothly.
Somebody stole my sandwich. What? We've called her and called her and called her, right? She didn't answer, so somebody ate her food. Somebody ate my food.
After revisiting the Ace 12 years on, I think it's safe to say that Mark has now run a horse, a motorbike and a highly successful cafe. The place is jam-packed every day with people living their particular petroleum fantasy.
Each evening we're hosting very distinct and different vehicles, and therefore we'll have British Bike Night, we'll have VW Air-Cooled Night, we'll have Classic Car Night, we'll have Harley Night, and each of the vehicle groups we host typically have very distinct demographics. So at one end of a spectrum, we'll have guys my age and older into classic bikes or perhaps classic cars. And at another end of the spectrum, we'll have youngsters into tuned and modified, Nissan Skylines, Mitsubishi Evos.
It's quality, so many bikes, so much to do, can have something to eat. It's a lovely place, nice people around, you know what I mean?
Ace Cafe for me, that's the best place for who like the bike. I know because I have some friends, they used to come here a long time ago. I'm from Brazil.
For sure, we all, in our different ways, identify with something by the way we dress, what we drive. That's what marketing's all about, and promotion and advertising. But what it seems to me ultimately to boil down to, the story of this place and its heritage, is the opportunity to, I'm going to say, escape.
Well, come on, everybody, and let's get together tonight. I got some money in my jeans and I'm really gonna spend it right.
This is one of those places with a history that is absolutely entrenched in this notion of speed and the idea of speed.
Come on, everybody.
So nostalgia sells, and so much so that the Ace is expanding. They're looking to export one to the States, and another is literally just opening in China.
Come on, everybody.
The young men in the original Bikers Cafe wouldn't have even seen or heard of a Chinese takeaway, let alone taking the Ace away to China. So do they worry it could be about to become just a chain of rock and roll theme parks?
I suppose you could look at anything as being a theme, but the way that I would look at it, they've got the theme, they've got the McCoy as near as they can here, and hopefully they'll point it in the right way. But if they don't do something with it, I'm quite sure in these other places, other people will come in and use it, and you would have no control on what it's like at all.
You really do get the impression that even with its worldwide expansion, the soul of this place is safe when the now successful owner's biggest worry is...
Well, I've been enjoying eggs, particularly poached egg on toast, for these past 12 years. And regrettably, I have to say, this morning, of my 2 poached eggs on toast, I did find a bit of shell in there. So, yeah, we need to sort this out.